Have you ever scrolled through your phone, staring at a long list of friends or followers, only to realize you don't have anyone you can truly count on? That sinking feeling of being surrounded by people yet feeling utterly alone? You're not the only one. Maybe you've been told you're too much or not enough. Maybe you felt like the odd one out, struggling to fit in or be understood. The truth is, building genuine friendships and influencing others isn't about changing who you are. It's about understanding the art of human connection. Part 1. Fundamental techniques in handling people. Principle 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Imagine standing in front of a beehive, ready to collect honey. Would you kick it over? Of course not. Not only would you lose the honey, but you'd also end up with a swarm of angry bees chasing after you. Well, here's the thing. People are a lot like beehives. When you criticize, condemn, or complain, you're essentially kicking their emotional hive. Their brain perceives criticism as a threat, triggering a fight-or-flight response. Suddenly, they're not listening. They're defending, resisting, or lashing out. Why? Because we're emotional beings, driven by our biases, egos, and desire to feel valued. But what if you could get the honey without the sting? The secret is empathy. Instead of leading with criticism, start with understanding. When you approach people with respect and kindness, you disarm their defenses. You build trust, open doors to collaboration, and create a space where growth happens naturally. World-famous psychologist B.F. Skinner proved that an animal rewarded for good behavior will learn much more rapidly than one punished for bad behavior. Later studies showed that the same is true for humans. As Dale Carnegie wisely said, any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain. And most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. At the core of every person lies a deep, often unspoken desire. The desire to feel important. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly appreciated? Not just a casual thanks tossed your way, but a sincere acknowledgement of your efforts, your presence, or your contributions. It feels incredible, doesn't it? That's because appreciation taps into something primal within us. It validates our worth and fuels our motivation to do more, be more, and give more. But here's the catch. Appreciation is not flattery. Flattery is cheap, insincere, self-serving, and often transparent. It's the kind of praise that comes from the tongue, not the heart. And discerning people can spot it from a mile away. True appreciation, on the other hand, is not about manipulating someone to get what you want. It's about genuinely valuing them for who they are and what they've done. When you show genuine appreciation, you're not just making someone feel good. You're building a stronger connection. You're fostering an environment where people feel seen, valued, and motivated to contribute. And in doing so, you're creating a ripple effect of positivity that benefits you and everyone. Principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Imagine you're standing by a beautiful lake, fishing rod in hand, ready to catch the biggest fish of the day. But instead of baiting your hook with a juicy worm or a shiny lure, you decide to use a slice of cake. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, that's exactly what many of us do when we try to persuade others without understanding what they truly want. People don't care about your goals unless they see how it benefits them. Whether you're trying to sell a product, inspire a team, or even get your kids to eat their vegetables, the key is to tap into their desires, not yours. As Carnegie famously said, the only way to influence people is to talk about what they want and show them how to get it. When you genuinely care about the other person's needs, you don't just get what you want. You create relationships built on trust and mutual respect. In a world full of self-seeking individuals, the rare person who unselfishly strives to serve others holds an enormous advantage. Part 2. 6 ways to make people like you. Principle 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. Imagine sitting across from someone fully engaged, asking thoughtful questions, genuinely curious about your thoughts, your experiences, and even your dreams. How does that feel? Valued? Heard? Deeply connected? In a world where so many of us are busy crafting the perfect Instagram post, dominating conversations with our own stories, or seeking validation through likes and comments, the simple act of showing authentic interest in others is rare and powerful. As Dale Carnegie once said, You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in others than you can in 2 years by trying to get others interested in you. The people who leave the biggest impact on us aren't the ones who talk the most about themselves. They're the ones who make us feel like we matter. Principle 2. Smile. It costs nothing but has the power to brighten someone's day, ease tensions, and open doors to meaningful connections. A smile is more than just a curve on your face. It's a universal language of kindness. And the best part? While you're lifting someone else's spirits, you're also giving yourself a boost. Studies show that smiling releases endorphins, reduces stress, and even strengthens your immune system. Think of it as a mini workout for your happiness muscles. As Dale Carnegie said, the expression one wears on one's face is far more important than the clothes one wears on one's back. Principle 3. The sweetest sound. Ever wonder why Starbucks asks for your name when you order? It's not just to avoid mix-ups. It's a clever psychological trick. People love hearing their own names, and Starbucks knows it. By writing your name on the cup, they're not just personalizing your order, they're creating a sense of ownership. It's about creating an experience where every customer feels seen, recognized, and valued. And that's where Dale Carnegie's timeless principle comes into play. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Using someone's name creates an instant connection. It's a simple yet profound way to show respect, build rapport, and makes others feel closer to you. A study shows that hearing your first name activates your cortico-subcortical auditory attention network, a fancy way of saying you automatically perk up, whether you are paying attention to the speaker or not. It's a fascinating reminder of how deeply connected we are to our own identities and how our brains are wired to respond to personal cues. So, using someone's name isn't just a gesture of politeness. It's a recognition of their identity. They carry our history, our sense of self, and our place in the world. Principle 4. Be a good listener. People love talking about themselves. Their dreams, their struggles, their wins. It's what they care about most. And guess what? The person in front of you is far more interested in their own story than in yours. That's why being an amazing listener is your superpower. Listening is like holding up a mirror to someone's soul. It reflects their passion, illuminates the shadows of their fears, and unveils the colors of their dreams. It's about creating space for the other person's story, letting them be the star of their own narrative and making them feel truly seen and understood. Behavioral scientists have found that good listening is one of the most important things we can do to improve our relationships, broaden our worldview, and even potentially change people's minds. The royal road to a person's heart is to listen to the things they treasure most. Principle 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. If you want to build rapport and make a lasting impression, focus your conversation on topics and aspects that are relevant and important to the person you're speaking with, essentially making them feel heard and valued by showing genuine interest in what matters to them. It means finding common ground with the person you're talking to and showing that you understand their point of view. Here are some actionable tips to make your conversations more engaging and memorable. Number 1, ask questions about their interests. If they mention that they love hiking, ask about their favorite trail or the most breathtaking view they've ever seen. Number 2, share stories about your own experiences that are relevant to their interests. If they're passionate about travel, share a funny or inspiring story from your own adventures. But your story should complement their interests, not steal the spotlight. Number 3, use humor that they'll appreciate. Humor is a universal icebreaker, but it's even better when it's tailored to their sense of humor or interests. A lighthearted joke about a shared experience can make the conversation more enjoyable. Number 4, find common ground with them. Look for shared interests or experiences. Maybe you both love the same TV show, have a favorite coffee spot, or share a passion for volunteering. By focusing on their interests and finding common ground, you'll create meaningful, memorable interactions that foster trust and connection. Principle 6, make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. Imagine walking into a room and being greeted with genuine warmth and admiration. How would that make you feel? Dale Carnegie once said, "There is one all-important law of human conduct. Always make the other person feel important." And he was absolutely right. The key is to approach every interaction with sincerity, asking yourself, what is there about this person that I can honestly admire? Whether it's their kindness, their work ethic, or their sense of humor, find something genuine to appreciate and let that guide your words and actions. Part 3. 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking. Praise is like sunshine. It warms people up and makes them glow. But what happens when the clouds roll in? What do you do when someone disagrees with you, challenges your ideas, or outright resists your perspective? That's the next subject in How to Win Friends and Influence People. Principle 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. An argument is 90% emotion and 10% nonsense. Here's the scenario. Two egos locked in a head-to-head battle, each fiercely defending their turf. The moment an argument begins, both are instantly cast in a double role, defensive as well as offensive. It's a lose-lose situation from the start. Think about it. If you lose the argument, you lose. But if you win, you might make the other person feel stupid, hurt their pride, and breed resentment. In essence, winning the argument often means losing the other person's goodwill. Avoiding arguments isn't just a tactic, it's a wise person's art. It's a way of sidestepping anger, bitterness, and resentment, preserving relationships and maintaining peace. As Dale Carnegie put it, there is only one way under high heaven to get the best of an argument, and that is to avoid it. Principle 2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, "You're wrong." Think of a dog fiercely guarding its favorite toy. Even if you offer a shiny new bone, the dog might growl or cling tighter, unwilling to let go. Similarly, when someone feels their opinions are under attack, they may dig in their heels and defend their stance even more strongly. Telling someone they're wrong can feel like a personal attack, threatening their self-esteem or sense of identity, even if you didn't mean it that way. This can trigger defensiveness, especially if the topic is emotionally charged or tied to their core values. Instead of saying you're wrong, try acknowledging their perspective first. For example, "I see where you're coming from and have a slightly different view." This approach fosters openness and reduces defensiveness, making it easier to have a constructive conversation. Principle 3. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. If we know we're going to be rebuked regardless, wouldn't it be far better to take the initiative and criticize ourselves first? After all, isn't self-criticism easier to bear than condemnation from someone else? Say all the derogatory things about yourself that you know the other person is thinking, wants to say, or plans to say, and say them before they even get the chance. When mistakes are made, don't deny them or try to make excuses. Simply admit it and be sorry. No one in history has ever choked to death from swallowing his pride. By taking responsibility for your fault, you are showing your humility, integrity, and responsibility, which can earn you respect and trust from others. It also helps avoid unnecessary conflict and arguments. However, it's important to genuinely realize and accept your mistake before admitting it, rather than just admitting it for the sake of avoiding conflict. Remember the old saying, "By fighting, you never get enough, but by yielding, you often gain more than you ever expected." Principle 4. Begin in a friendly way. Think about how to make a bird come to you. Do you chase after it, trying to snare it? Or do you offer it food and let it come to you on its own? A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall. The way you begin an interaction often sets the tone for everything that follows. A friendly approach disarms defensiveness, builds trust, and paves the way for positive outcomes. It's like the sun can make you take off your coat more quickly than the wind, and kindliness, the friendly approach, and appreciation can make people change their minds more readily than all the bluster and storming in the world. Principle 5. Get the other person saying yes, yes immediately. Never begin a conversation by discussing the things on which you differ. Instead, start by emphasizing, and keep emphasizing the things on which you agree. Make it clear that you are both striving for the same thing and that the only difference is of method and not of purpose. Here's a powerful trick. Use the Socratic method. Ask questions that naturally lead the other person to say yes repeatedly. Start with points they can't possibly disagree with, and gradually guide them toward your perspective. Before they know it, they'll see your conclusion as their own. Principle 6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. If you listen to podcasters and radio hosts like I do, you can notice the hosts allowing the other guests to do most of the talking. Most people try to win others over by talking too much, but a more effective approach is to let the other person talk themselves out. Instead of dominating the conversation, ask thoughtful questions and give them the space to share their ideas. By listening attentively, you create an environment where they are more likely to agree with you. Principle 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is theirs. Deep down, we all want to believe we know what's best for ourselves. Even well-meaning advice can feel intrusive if it doesn't respect our autonomy. That's why, instead of presenting fully polished ideas, it's often more effective to share partial ideas and ask for input. For example, instead of saying, "Here's what we should do," try, "I have a rough idea, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can make it work for you." When people feel they've contributed to an idea, they're far more likely to take ownership and commit to the outcome. As Dale Carnegie said, no one likes to feel that he or she is being sold something or told to do a thing. We much prefer to feel that we are buying of our own accord or acting on our own ideas. Principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Imagine two people standing on opposite sides of a table, looking at the same number drawn on a piece of paper. One person sees a 6, while the other sees a 9. Both are correct from their own vantage point, yet they perceive the situation entirely differently. When someone strongly advocates for a viewpoint that seems unclear or unreasonable to you, there's likely a reason behind their stance. Instead of focusing on proving your own point, take a moment to truly understand theirs. A study found that perspective-taking increased individuals' ability to discover hidden agreements and to both create and claim resources at the bargaining table. Principle 9. Be sympathetic to the other person's ideas and desires. Did you know that nearly 75% of the people you'll meet are secretly craving one thing? It's not money, success, or even advice. It's sympathy. They want to feel understood, valued, and heard. And when you give them that gift, you'll earn their trust and admiration. Here's the secret. You don't have to agree with someone to show sympathy. In fact, you can disagree entirely while still validating their emotions. Principle 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. This principle is about inspiring people to act not just for their own benefit, but for the benefit of others or a greater cause. It taps into their sense of morality, ethics, or desire to make a positive impact. When you frame your request or idea in a way that aligns with their higher values, they become more likely to respond positively. For example, instead of saying, "You should volunteer because it looks good on your resume," you could say, "Volunteering gives you the chance to make a real difference in someone's life." This shifts the focus from self-interest to a shared sense of purpose. By appealing to their nobler motives, you're not just asking them to do something, you're inviting them to be part of something meaningful. Principle 11. Dramatize your ideas. In a world where attention is the most valuable currency, merely stating a truth isn't enough to capture attention or persuade others. If you want your ideas to resonate, stick, and inspire action, you must present them in a vivid, engaging, and dramatic way. You have to use showmanship. Dramatization isn't about exaggeration or deceit. It's about wrapping your message in a story, an image, or an experience that resonates emotionally. When you dramatize your ideas, you're not just sharing information, you're creating an experience. And experiences are what people remember. Principle 12. Throw down a challenge. Introducing a challenge or fostering healthy competition can be a powerful way to boost productivity and inspire individuals to push their limits. For many, the allure of a difficult task lies in the opportunity to prove their capabilities and conquer obstacles. This approach aligns with the idea that true motivation stems from the work itself, not external factors like money, benefits, or ideal working conditions. At the core of this motivation are two key desires: the desire to excel and the desire to feel important. People thrive when they have the chance to showcase their talents, demonstrate their skills, and earn recognition for their efforts. By creating opportunities for individuals to rise to the occasion, you unlock their potential and inspire them to perform at their highest level. Part 4. 9 Principles for Leadership. In the final installment of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, the focus is on effective leadership and the art of providing constructive feedback. Effective leaders understand that their approach can significantly impact team dynamics, motivation, and overall morale. Principle 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Starting feedback sessions with positive recognition can set a constructive tone. For example, during a team meeting, a project manager might say, "And I want to start by acknowledging the fantastic work you all put into the recent project." This approach fosters an encouraging environment before addressing any areas for improvement. Principle 2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Instead of bluntly pointing out a mistake, approach the issue with subtlety. For instance, if a team member misses a deadline, a leader could say, "I noticed our timeline slipped a bit on this project. What challenges did you face that we might address together?" This method opens a dialogue about the issue without making the individual feel defensive or embarrassed. Principle 3, talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Sharing personal challenges is an excellent way to establish camaraderie and mutual understanding. For example, a leader might share, "I remember a time when I mishandled a client's request. Here's a strategy that helped me, and it might work for you too." This tactic emphasizes that everyone makes mistakes and promotes a culture of learning rather than blame. Principle 4, ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Framing requests as questions can empower team members. For instance, instead of demanding, "Finish this report by tomorrow," a leader might ask, "Could you find a way to have the report ready by tomorrow? What support do you need from me to make that happen?" This encourages collaboration and gives individuals the autonomy to address challenges creatively. Principle 5, let the other person save face. Maintaining dignity during tough conversations is crucial for sustaining positive relationships. For instance, if a team member makes a mistake during a presentation, a leader could privately offer constructive feedback afterwards, saying, "Great job overall, but let's refine a few points for next time." This approach preserves confidence and fosters growth without causing embarrassment. Principle 6, praise the slightest improvement. Recognizing progress, no matter how small, can motivate team members to continue developing their skills. For example, if someone goes above and beyond, a leader might say, "Great job tackling that challenge. Your effort is paying off, and I'm excited to see your progress." This acknowledgement helps reinforce positive behaviors and encourages ongoing commitment. Principle 7, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Expressing confidence in another person's capabilities can inspire them to rise to the occasion. For example, a team leader might say, "You've got the skills to lead this project. Your past work proves it, and I'm confident you'll succeed." By framing their abilities positively, the leader instills confidence and motivates the individual to meet expectations. Principle 8, use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. When addressing someone's mistakes or shortcomings, avoid discouraging or demoralizing them. Instead, focus on encouragement and optimism. Help them see the issue as minor and easy to fix. For example, "I believe you have a natural talent for this. With a bit more practice, you'll master it in no time." This approach fosters confidence and motivation, making it easier for the person to improve without feeling overwhelmed or disheartened. Principle 9, make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Offering incentives, praise, and authority are all effective ways to encourage someone to embrace your suggestions and take action willingly. The key is to make them feel good about the decision and motivated to follow through. For example, "I think this approach could really benefit the team, and once it's in place, it'll make your workload so much easier. What do you think?" By framing your suggestion as a win-win and giving them a sense of ownership, you'll make them feel excited and motivated to take action. It's not just about getting things done, it's about making them want to do it.